Welcome to this channel. Please like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel if you are watching for very first time. And don't forget to press the notification button so that you will enjoy our video whenever we upload. For a very long time, Nnnamdi Kanu has been complaining about denying him, access to his family. To the extent that one judge even complained about Nnnamdi Kanu repeating the same cloth for a very long time, and up to this moment we still saw something like that this time around. What do you think is happening? Is this a normal trial or persecution?
Of course, it's persecution and persecution. You see, Nnnamdi Kanu has been in detention for 1,500 and something days now, and yes, he has been seen to be on the same attire, up and down, and in the market value too, of Fendi's fashion, is going viral just because of Nnnamdi Kanu, but that's not what we are here. But we're just to make an in-depth contribution to the question of the personality, that have refused to bow to iniquity, the personality that have refused to bow to injustice, the personality have refused to bow to criminality. You can see the way he just walked into the court, always smiling. You can see, his team of lawyers fortified already, set for the day's activities. And from what we are getting, the DSS is in disarray of what to do with Nnnamdi Kanu. The federal government is also is questioning. There is series of emergency meetings going on because of this man, because it has become a global thing. A lot of people are interested, a lot of nations in the international community, the European Union, organization, forums of professional lawyers, from Ghana, from Cameroon, from Namibia. I saw somebody from Namibia reacting to Nnnamdi Kanu, from Japan, from China. A lot of people are asking, who is this man that has always put on this thing on daily basis? What is actually the problem? But it has tell us the story of a man who turned whom the nation turned to scrap, and he has become a machine now. It told us a story of a man whose son has risen. It told us of a story of a man who has, because of oppression and maltreatment, against his people, has become, a symbol of a rising lion. Well, for me, like what most Hausas are saying now, that Nnnamdi Kanu has successfully become a global hero, especially to African youth, especially to those who seek justice, especially with those who align with the United Nations requirement for self-determination, especially with those who felt that politically and otherwise we cannot continue to be treated as slaves in our own land. That is the picture. That's what Nnnamdi Kanu represents, and that's what has been represented. As you are seeing him, exchanging pleasantries with his lawyers, with his foreigners, with delegates, with observers, international observers are in the court, including the DSS, the lawyer Omotosho, and the hooded witness we are seeing. I can tell you that it is becoming very clear and becoming very suspicious on the motive of the government to be operating from DSS to court, or from court to DSS, or when they want to commence the trial inside DSS headquarters, and that is not very clear. But we are looking at James Omotosho, to be very careful at this point in time and allow the judiciary to do the needful, because we know, the lawyers know, the international lawyers know. We saw some outside lawyers coming to defend Nnnamdi Kanu in the court too. They know that Nnnamdi Kanu never committed any offense. That Nnnamdi Kanu alerted the world of the jihadist movement, of the conquest agenda, not targeted on any other tribe but the Igbo people. And that is why you are seeing on daily basis the Igbo people are beginning to disengage themselves with anything that has to do with governors of the eastern region, with anything that has to do with political appointment of those who have been tailored and planted there by the Fulanese. That are quiet while the people of Enugu boy. They are quiet while we're seeing mass exodus of Benue people to Enugu, to the Biafran land for safety. These are the things Nnnamdi Kanu talked about so much, and it is happening even why it was still happening, there's no consciousness. Nigeria has a dead consciousness. That's why they are being referred, as not being a nation with that leadership. Then we are seeing one of the things Nnnamdi Kanu talked about so many years ago: call for international attention, call for national attention, call for consciousness. It has spread to 36 states of the federation, and the man in question is still being kept under kangaroo trial. A Southern president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, ordered for his retrial. If it were to be a northern, it can't happen. So the fear and suspicion that the political conquest of the Fulanis in Nigeria have taken a political angle is very, very correct. I see the manipulation under Buhari, how he said, yes, I will release him, let him do this. At the end of the day, the late Zikist, the only remaining Zikist, Amechi Bazulike, that went to the wheelchair to Asura to beg Buhari to release. That even if it is for a gift, and unfortunately that man died without Nnnamdi Kanu. The consequences of what Nigeria is going to bring upon themselves, it will not be a child's play when it starts happening. Because an innocent man, an innocent soul is being tried unjustly. An innocent man is being kept and nobody is talking about anything. His people have rejected him. Everybody, Nnnamdi Kanu is solely battling. I was watching a video where somebody was referring to him, that this man is greater than Nelson Mandela, and people were just surprised. How come? And I don't know why the white man said that anyway, but the truth of the matter is that if you say Nnnamdi Kanu is greater than Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela only fought for black majority, white supremacists in South Africa, where the minority is ruling the majority. This man is talking about, recognition of over 85 million people qualified to be a nation. And I don't know what is wrong with that. How? And that's why he keep on telling the whole world that this court lacked this jurisdiction to try him. And that is what it is. If Omotosho is dragging, making people lose, some level of trust by the way he's saying, operate from DSS, the matter will go to DSS, this and that. Without this kind of matter should be tried in the court, and you're trying to muzzle the media from coverage. You're trying to stop the international observers. There's going to be resistance to it. See, the temper is already rising over the way Nnnamdi Kanu has been kept in a place for 5 good years without having access to his freedom.
I even hear that some people are protesting that Omotosho should go, and I don't know what happened at this time around, because everybody was hopeful. We thought this thing that as it receiving a speedy trial, we thought we were going to get justice very soon, but unfortunately, the thing is keep on going on with different, strange condition being introduced.
I think that's what we are saying, that maybe Nigeria factor has set into his understanding of what he want to do with Nnnamdi Kanu, or a certain influence have already mounted pressure that the way these things are going, this guy is going to win this case, and we don't want it, and he's trying to change his narrative and change his body language at the end of the day, bringing all manner of things, talking about transmitter, this and, but let them go and open defense and ask questions. They're like, wait, that's what we're expecting, in the court, and ask defense, and then they know that Nnnamdi Kanu is an intelligent person, very capable, to stand anything at any time, and from henceforth, 85 million people lives are factored in what is happening to Nnnamdi Kanu. 85 souls that is representing. That's what I see, and that's why nobody plays with him. He's bigger and bigger than all these governors you're seeing in the southeast, and all these things, kangaroo, unrepented darkness that you're seeing everywhere as politicians. He's bigger than them because he's saying the truth. He stood for the truth.
Can we say that's why they keep on keeping him in DSS perpetually, because he's exposing them?
Yes, I met to Odjo Carlo. I wish this video can get to Odjo Carlo with a big disappointment. I think he has gone to take another turban. They have turban him.
Giving
So
him Fulanization
yes, they have
has
turban him
happened to
to
him.
tell you where he's coming from. You know, it's not far different. That's where he's coming from, and that is what they are doing, and that is why he came out to make that kind of statement against Nnnamdi Kanu. So these are the things we are talking about. That the likes of these people, you know, we don't understand what their motive, you know, about Nnnamdi Kanu. And what I can tell you, the people themselves are behind Nnnamdi Kanu. Yes, the team of lawyers, and I can see the United States of America, European Union are signaling interest. They want to see how this is going to go at the end of the day, and whether Nigeria is going to compromise. We saw the chief judge of Ghana, you know, visiting Nnnamdi Kanu. They don't want to know, you know, how this criminality will turn to justice, and that is the game. Everything, everybody is looking at this point in time, and it will be a shame looking at Nnnamdi Kanu. You know, all eyes on him, and he knows who he is. He understands who he is. You know, it's not a pushover. You know, to the surprise of many, they didn't know that this kind of Nnnamdi Kanu has this kind of focus, have this kind of understanding, have this kind of, you know, agenda. That this is what it is, and I'm going to stand for it. I'm not going to compromise. He would have compromised, and finally, he rejected all those things. He a lot of things. That's what is making these people, because his people cannot surrender to Islamization. His people cannot surrender to Fulanization. His people cannot surrender to deep hatred and be part of the system they are talking about. So let the law, everybody knows what the law says. The judge is just there to pronounce the law. Everybody knows what the law says about what is happening to Nnnamdi Kanu anywhere in the world. You know, so let him tell us how transmitter he's talking about became a nuclear weapon. You know, where even in his office there he's using transmitter. So, so you can see all these people they are bringing, trying to cover people's face to come and say one thing or the other, you know, and all those things. I think to an extent, I'm telling you that all eyes on Omotosho, and people are watching him. I pray he will not go the way of Binta Yang.
Well, my people, it is very, very well, as people are still casting doubts on Omotosho now, because we thought with Omotosho we can seek justice, but with the introduction of all this new strange condition, like a trial of Nnnamdi Kanu in the DSSL, disallowing news media, disallow foreign observer, all this kind of a thing is telling us something is fishy. Eventually, before we go, what is your expectation?
Total, you see, it's a very straightforward thing. If Bola Ahmed Tinubu want to do it, you know fully well, you know that they cannot hold Nnnamdi Kanu. You know, there's no court in Nigeria that have the jurisdiction to try him in the first place. He would have written to the Attorney General of the Federation, you know, and tell him to withdraw the case, and the matter ends there. As simple as that. But he doesn't want to offend the Fulanis. Of course, that's what made people to question his neutrality in these things that are happening in Nigeria. Because if it is the reason why they handed you over power to keep Nnnamdi Kanu and make sure he died in DSS custody, well, I can tell you, nature is bigger than what man made. God is bigger than man. And the destiny of Biafra is not tied to any man. The destiny of Biafra is tied to divinity.
Thank you very much.